Good afternoon, guys. It is May 30th, 2022. In this video here, I want to talk about the hyped up claim of no loss of suction. That is a false statement, period. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the marketing is. I don't care what the design is. Any vacuum cleaner on the market will eventually lose suction when things get blocked. Period. I don't care if it's a Kirby. I don't care if it's a Dyson. I don't care if it's a Shark. I don't care if it's a Hoover. I don't care if it's an Oric. I don't care if it's a Sanitaire. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. They will all lose suction eventually. When they get blocked, they lose suction. And what do you need to do when that happens? You need to clean it out. You need to change the bag, change the filter, make sure everything's all clear, and then you're back to 100% performance. So this whole claim of never loses suction is just a bunch of baloney. Why do people buy into that hype? Well, I hate to say this, but Americans are just dumb. They don't use their brains. You know, they think, oh, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Oh, it's the this. Oh, it's the that. Oh, it's the. And they don't even think about long term. They don't even think about how things operate. They don't think about just the basic common sense of things. And a lot of people tend to think that a bagless vacuum performs better than a bagged machine. This is not necessarily true. I'm not 100% sure, but from my experiences and just looking at the setup of a bagged machine, bagged, honestly, probably performs a little bit better because a bagless vacuum spins the air multiple times, and the more restriction you have and the more that air has to travel through, the less performance you're going to get. That's with anything. Vacuum cleaners, ventilation, anything. The more obstructions there are for air to go through, the slower it gets. It just slows down. So, it's literally the bag pulls through and then right out the exhaust. That's all. It's not going through a bunch of things. It's not spinning a bunch of times. It's not, like Dyson has this hyped up claim about, oh, well, this cyclonic. Really? I mean, seriously, I don't really get the hype. It's, now, there are certain designs that are just bad, I get that. But the less restriction there is with airflow, the stronger it's going to be performance-wise. Why do you think I recommend direct air vacuums so much for carpet? It's because that fan is right next to the floor. You can argue with me all you want, but direct air will out-clean a clean air machine on carpet. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That fan is right there. The fan in a bypass is somewhere in here, and it's pulling air through here, through the hose, and in. And I'm not saying that these are bad. I'm not saying that these don't perform well. I'm just saying the less restriction and the less air has to travel through, the more efficient it's going to be. Period. The end. That's just the way it is. And the whole no loss of suction thing, if a bag is packed pretty, like, super full, it's going to lose suction. If the filter in a bagless vacuum is all clogged and blocked up, it will lose suction. If the hose gets clogged on any vacuum cleaner, it will lose suction. If the bag gets overly full, it will lose suction. If enough fine dust gets through the system, it will lose suction. Dyson has come out with this new technology saying, oh, well, we don't have any filters, we don't have any of this. There's no way around it. You need filters, dude. And their cyclonic design on these new Dysons now, I think, is just absolutely ridiculous. Because you're just asking for fine dust to clog stuff up, get into the motor, and cause issues. People have reported loss of suction in those Dyson Kinetic vacuums, or whatever they are. And for the price that they're asking for those, I will never buy those. Because they're not made nearly as well as the good ones that are older, the good ones that are in the commercial market. And I just am not a fan of bagless vacuums. I just am not. You know, especially after, you know, dealing with it for like 7 years. In that 7 years, I was just kind of tired of it. And when I finally tried a bag vacuum, after that 7 years, when I finally tried a bag vacuum again, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. So, it's just simple. And, you know, a lot of people complain, oh, you have to buy the bags, and you have to constantly change the bags, and blah, blah, blah. Well, imagine constantly having to clean out a container and have dust flying everywhere and stuff. And yes, you can go outside and clean it out. I understand that. But it's still dirty regardless. It's a mess. And, you know, it just is inefficient. Why do you think commercial cleaning people most of the time use bagged vacuum cleaners? Because they don't have time to deal with fine dust clogging filters and stuff. When that bag gets full, they just pull the bag out and they toss the bag and they put a new one in, and it's 100%. Bagged vacuum cleaners, it's not old technology, it's not new technology. It is the way that a vacuum cleaner should be. That's just the way it is. Especially in a commercial environment and stuff, you don't know what kind of health concerns are out there, and bagless vacuum cleaners can become a health issue. You know, especially in the cleaning industry, you're just, it's just not efficient. They'll just put it that way. And I know that bags cost money, but really they're no more expensive than filters. And filters, honestly, for one filter, for what the price of for the price of one filter, you can buy 10 to 12 bags for some of them for that same price, or even less. And a bag lasts you months and months, and then once that bag's full, you just pull it out, you throw it away, and you put a new one in, and you're done. You're not worried about cleaning anything out and everything. And honestly, that's going to give you a lot better performance in the long run, because most people just, I talk to a lot of average consumers and they're like, oh, there's a filter in there? Like, they have no clue that there's a filter in a bagless vacuum, because they think, well, I just emptied the canister, it should be fine. Oh, well, it's just not working, so I need a new vacuum. I can't tell you how many people I've actually heard say that. And I mean, it's the same thing with, both in person and online. I've heard just your average consumer say that, and I'm just like, okay, people need to be aware of what is going on and how to maintain their machines, and I think people just become lazy and not been willing to read the manual and stuff and figure it out. But also just, a bag is just common sense. It's like, oh, a bag is full, I need another bag. And most of the time, there's no other dust anywhere else. So if you want true, long-lasting performance, then a bagged vacuum cleaner, in my experience, is way, way, way more efficient and way more cost effective than a bagless. So it doesn't matter if your vacuum cleaner is high end or cheap from Walmart, they will all lose suction whenever the filter becomes blocked or when the bag becomes too full. It just is. I mean, yeah. So, anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.